Hey, I wanted to talk to you about implementing gluten-free, casein-free diet with our client.
Hi, yes, I'm familiar with gluten-free, casein-free diets. What would you like to discuss?
I was thinking it might be helpful to try it out. I've seen other teams use it. I thought it might be worth exploring, and the family seemed open to it. Could you tell me more about it?
Certainly. Gluten-free, casein-free diets remove all gluten, specifically wheat, barley, and rye, as well as casein, which is a protein that's found in dairy. Kids that are on these diets have more restrictive meals, and they typically will only eat fruits, veggies with meat, pending the family, and anything that's gluten-free. The casein aspect is they can only drink non-dairy, so things like almond milk and soy milk. Um, and then again, they can only eat meats but that's based on the parents as well.
I feel like that could be really helpful. I saw a video that said this helps individuals similar to the children we work with and is highly recommended. What do you think?
I can understand why it might seem appealing, especially with how often it's promoted in popular media and online. One potential benefit of this treatment is that in some research, it has been shown to decrease behavioral problems, as well as showing a decrease in epileptic seizures. However, one significant concern is the lack of nutritional intake that the children might receive and the lack of research to this matter to have any credible say. The evidence that is there is few and mixed with no sound conclusion to be considered safe.
That's helpful to know. I feel like we could still make this work to make the family happy, don't you think?
Unfortunately, I can't implement this procedure. I need to ensure that any treatment I use is both evidence-based and behavioral analytic. I can try to first research and find supportive evidence with credible sources that have been reviewed by peers and provide detailed and comprehensive experiments highlighting this diet. If elimination diets cannot have a clear consensus from everyone in behavioral psychology, I feel it should not be used in our sessions with our clients. Additionally, there are more important ethical implications I must consider when reviewing procedures like this.
I see. What are the ethical implications?
There were several ethical codes to consider when any attempt at elimination diet is going to be done. The biggest one would be Ethics Code 2.01, providing effective treatment. I cannot morally go about providing this procedure when there is significant lack of empirical research to back it up and to risk any treatment that my client is receiving currently. Another would be Ethics Code 2.13, which is selecting, designing, and implementing assessments. Because elimination diets are not evidence-based in behavioral literature, I can't ethically implement this for my client. The last one would be Ethics Code 2.14, selecting, designing, and implementing behavioral change interventions. Because there is no legitimate research on the outcomes regarding the behavioral change in children, that would be an inappropriate plan to include with any client.
Well, that's very clear. It's a little disappointing, but thank you for explaining that. How do you plan to address this with the family?
I would begin by saying that I've done my own research into this matter and discussed it with my supervisors to ensure to my family that I took this matter seriously for them. I then will let them know that due to ethical guidelines we stand by, I must use only behavioral analytic practice that's based solely on scientific research with sufficient data. This is a newer topic in the field of psychology and all around us, and it's still out of my scope of competence.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you for discussing this with me.
You're welcome. I appreciate your openness and your focus on helping the client. While I do need to follow what is ethical and evidence-based, I'm always open to ongoing collaboration and conversation as we work toward the best possible outcome. Now we're doing the conversation with family. Hi, thank you for meeting with me today. I wanted to talk about the treatment plan and to see if you have any questions or concerns.
Sure, we heard from a friend whose child is using gluten-free, casein-free diet. They said it helped their child, and we want to try it for ours.
I completely understand wanting to explore different options, and I really appreciate how involved you are. I did look into the gluten-free, casein-free diet, and from what I found, it's a method that involves getting rid of all the wheat, barley, rye, and any other dairy products.
Yes, that is what we heard. We really think it could help and want your help to implement it.
It's great that you're looking for the best options to help your child. There's actually one part of the treatment that could be helpful. Some reports state that children appear to have calmer, better sleep and less behaviors, but I also want to be honest with you about a concern. The research on this diet is limited and inconsistent with the results. This could prove to be challenging to put into practice for sessions as well as potential problem in nutritional intake.
I didn't realize there were downsides. We only heard the good stuff. Can we still use it?
That makes total sense. People usually talk about what worked for them, but before I can use any new strategy, I need to make sure it's evidence-based and behavioral analytic. When I say evidence-based, what I'm looking for is a strong scientific research that can yield results showing that it worked for many, many children when it's put into practice. When discussing behavioral analytic, what I want to know is what the function of the behavior is and if the research that they're doing can find and collect data on what that function of the behavior is. This treatment doesn't meet the criteria because it doesn't show strong scientific proof of improving autism nor behaviors. Um, there's also an ethical side to all of this. I want to follow the code of ethics. It's kind of like a rule book that helps me make the safest and most respectful decisions for the kids I work with. In this case, the treatment would go against some of those codes. For example, the first one is Ethics Code 2.01, which is providing effective treatment. I cannot implement a new procedure without having proper evidence-based research to back it up. Another code would be Ethics Code 2.13, selecting, designing, and implementing assessments. This just outlines that all assessments conducted with our child is based on scientific research that has been proven effective. Lastly, the Ethics Code 2.14, selecting, designing, and implementing behavior change intervention, is where I would only implement any procedure with our child that has data to back it up to help reduce behaviors.
I see. That's honestly a little disappointing. We were really hoping to try something different that might help.
I completely understand. It means a lot that you're looking for ways to support your child. I'm always here to talk you through your ideas. While I do have to stick with procedures supported by research and our ethical guidelines, I want you to know that I'm listening and will always do my best to explain the why behind our decisions. We're in this together.